going to be making arancini. So it's just part of a little tapas meal that we're doing to go with the fried cauliflower that you've seen in a previous video. So what I have to cook with here is I've got 400 ml of my homemade chicken stock. I've had it in the freezer. I've just kind of nuked it up in the microwave just to loosen it up. It's going to get mixed with the white wine on the stove, so if it's not totally unfrozen, that's okay. We've got half a cup of arborio rice, aka risotto rice, quarter of a cup of white wine. This is just a Underwood Chardonnay. Got a heaped teaspoon of garlic here. I've just crushed garlic. I've got a just one echalot finely diced. You can also use brown onion if you wish as well. I just happen to have this in the cupboard. Around 20 grams of butter. About a third of a cup of parmesan, so this is just some shaved parmesan. And then I've got, it's about half a cup actually of shredded Monterey Jack, but normally you would use something like a mozzarella in there, but you just want a nice kind of stretchy cheese. And then to crumb it, some breadcrumbs. I've just got some panko breadcrumbs here in the bowl, ready to crumb it. And then obviously you need a pot with some oil to fry it. So what we're going to go through is just the process of how to make it. It's nice and simple. Does take a little while in terms of, because you obviously got to cook the rice. But once it's done, hopefully, well, it should taste fantastic. So I've got two pans on here. I've just got a large fry pan to cook the shallots, the butter, the garlic, and the rice. And we're going to do up the stock and the white wine in this pot here. So it's as simple as, in goes the stock. Don't forget to get all that flavour that's in there as well. That's stuck to the container. Toss that away. And in goes the white wine. And it's as simple as that for this stock. In it goes, and then that's just going to mix together. Right, not much more that you actually need to do on that. So we'll actually swap it over, just for the sake of you actually seeing the pan. And so in the large pan, in goes our butter, in goes our shallots, or the brown onion, depending on what you're using, and in goes the garlic. So we don't put the rice in there just yet, because we just want to wet down the onions, or the shallots in this case. Turn the temperature down a little. Don't want to burn the butter. So just sauteing. So we're just going to saute this down, and then once it's kind of softened up a bit, we'll add the rice. So it's been about 15 minutes, and I've just put the last of the liquid in. So it does look a little soupy on camera, but it's actually absorbed in quite nicely. You can see there in the rice. I have the heat not overly high, so it's just under, kind of in between low and medium on my stove. So you don't want it to be too hot, because you don't want the liquid to boil away or to evaporate away too quickly, because you're just looking for it to absorb. So this has probably got another probably 5 minutes to absorb all this liquid in. It shouldn't take, as I say, around about that amount of time. And once that's done, we then take it off the heat, mix the cheese through it, and then we let it cool before we then roll it into balls and get the breadcrumbs on, and then get these little babies frying. So we'll touch back when we're ready to put the cheese in. So the liquid has now totally gone away, and we're left with this nice, beautiful cooked rice. And the colour is from obviously the butter and the stock. So to help with the cooling process, I'm going to put it into a bowl to take it off the heat. And so into that bowl is the rice. We're going to add our shredded cheese, that's the Monterey Jack, and our Parmesan. I'm just going to quickly stir it up. The heat from the rice will melt the cheese and it'll act like a binding agent as well, ready for when we make our arancini balls. Have a good mix through. Oh, smells good. You can see there how the cheese is really stringy. So Monterey Jack is a nice melty cheese, which, you know, similar to a mozzarella. So it's become a nice little ball there. Look at that, you can see the cheese stringing through there. So we're going to put that to the side for a couple of minutes. Might actually even put it in the fridge just to help let it cool. And then once it's cooled a bit, we'll create the balls, roll them in breadcrumbs, and then we'll get them in the fryer. So our rice mix has now cooled sufficiently. It's still nice and pliable. And it's time to put it into a ball, get it into the breadcrumbs, a bit of a coating. There we go. Put a little bit more on there. And then we're going to get these onto a plate. And so we'll do each of these, so we'll get a whole heap of them, and then we'll go across and we'll put them in the oil and give them a quick fry, and then they're ready to consume. So I've had to adjust what I'm doing. I did a test one just based on just rolling it in the breadcrumbs, and it exploded. So I actually had pop rice all through the fryer. So I've just gone back to the more traditional method of just rolling in a bit of flour and just in the egg wash to then get the breadcrumbs on. So I've made them slightly bigger as well. It doesn't take long to fry these things at all, so I don't want them to explode in the fryer. So I'll finish off doing these, and then we'll get across and we'll drop them in the oil. So the arancini balls are done. So I've made them a bit bigger, so they're about golf size. So let's go across and let's put them in the oil. So these will not take long at all in the fryer. So because they're a bit brittle, I'm just going to just ladle them in rather than dropping them in. So these will not take long at all to cook. Because essentially it's already cooked and we're just browning up the outside. There we go. That one's done. And this one's done. They do look a little darker than what you would normally expect. The oil, I've already fried up a couple of things in this oil. So it's probably about the last time I'll use it to fry up. I've got fresh oil for the next couple of things that I'll be cooking in the future. Alright, so here we have it. Arancini balls. I've already tasted the broken one, and the flavour is amazing inside the arancini. So it's time to serve these up. So hopefully you get a better result than what I do if you try this recipe.